Hello, you're welcome to Classic Data Lab, where we provide you with the needed skill to extract insight, add value, and make impact from data. Today, I'm going to teach you a smart way to learn data science. Data science is broad and can be very frustrating if you don't know what to learn at a particular point in time. To get the best out of this video, try and watch to the very end. Let's get started. A smart way to learn data science is to divide and conquer. So we are going to divide the whole data science part into 4 phases. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4. There are a set of subjects that you need to cover under each phase. Under Phase 1, which is your first phase, you will need to cover computer programming, basic statistics, and data analysis. Let's start with computer programming. Which programming language should you learn? In data science, there are 2 dominant programming languages: Python programming and R programming. There are other languages though, but these are the ones dominating. Personally, I recommend you start with Python. However, if you already have foundations in R or you are more interested in R, you can also start with R. So under Python, what should you learn? Python is a high-level language, so it is easy to learn, has a wider community, and then can also be used for other stuff apart from data science. Under Python, when you're learning it, you will need to divide into 2 sections: procedural programming and then object-oriented programming. Under procedural programming, try and cover data types in Python, data structures, control flow, functions, both built-in functions and then custom function. Try and understand high order functions. Work on exercises, share your knowledge with others, and then collaborate with others to learn more. Right. So if you are able to cover this section, you move on to object-oriented programming. Under object-oriented programming, try and cover classes, instances, objects, methods, and inheritance. If you are able to complete this section of Python, then you've laid a good foundation for your career. You then move on to basic statistics. Under basic statistics, you learn to understand the difference between inferential statistics and descriptive statistics. Under descriptive statistics, try and understand the measures of central tendency: the mean, the mode, the median. Also try and understand the measures of variations, like that of the standard deviation, the variance, the maximum, the minimum, the quartile range, and then the interquartile range. Try and know when to apply them. After that, also get familiar with basic probability. Get yourself familiar with basic probability. Try and understand how to calculate simple probabilities. And don't also forget to learn the difference between a sample and a population, a statistic and a parameter, right? A census and a survey. These form the basics of statistics, and it will help you a lot if you are able to understand these basic concepts. After the basic statistics, then you move on to data analysis with either Python or R, depending on which one you learned during the computer programming section. Assuming you learned Python, under data analysis with Python, you will need to master important packages like NumPy, Pandas, Seaborn, Matplotlib, right? These are packages that you will need to manipulate data, make computations, visualize data, and also extract insight, right? So you will learn to clean data with Python, learn to filter data, learn to aggregate data, learn to segment data. You can also add important ones like SciPy and Stats Model. Great. Under this section, you've combined the computer programming and the basic statistics to draw insight from data. try and work on simple projects. Share your knowledge with others, and then move on to phase 2. Under phase 2, you start with Excel or Google Sheets. Excel is very common, and you may think that you don't need it as a data scientist. I can tell you with assurance that you can't do away with Excel as a data scientist. So you will need to also learn Excel or Google Sheets for data manipulation, right, and analysis. So what should you cover under Excel or Google Sheets? Learn how to clean data with Excel. Learn how to manipulate data with Excel. Validate data with Excel. Understand pivot tables, pivot charts, right? And also, if you have the time or the chance, learn basic VBA if you can. But if you can't, no worries. You don't really need much of VBAs as a data scientist. All right. So after you've finished Excel or revise your Excel lessons, then you move on to the business intelligence tools. The common ones include Power BI and Tableau. The choice is yours. You can start with other Power BI and later learn Tableau, or start with Tableau and later learn Power BI. You can also decide to go with one of them. It all depends on your preference. Under these tools, try and learn how to create reports, how to create attractive, interactive dashboards, how to tell a story, right, with visualizations. When you are done with business intelligence, then you move on to database management. As a data scientist, you will need to extract data from databases. And to be able to do that, you need knowledge on SQL or NoSQL. As a beginner, I would recommend you start with SQL for structured data. NoSQL is used for unstructured data. So you start with SQL, learn how to query from databases, how to join data, how to use conditions in SQL, right? You do not need to learn complex stuff in SQL as a data scientist. All that you need is how to connect to SQL, pull data, manipulate it, and extract insight, right? So these are the areas you need to cover under phase 2. So now we move to phase 3. What should you cover under phase 3? Under phase 3, you will need to cover mathematics and statistics again. So this is like statistics part 2. So this is going to be a little above what you learned under basic statistics. You also need to cover machine learning and deep learning. Let's take the mathematics and statistics. What should you cover under mathematics and statistics? Under mathematics and statistics, you will need to cover algebra, understand it. You may not need to memorize formulas or keep mathematical formulas, but you should understand how to use them and how to even apply them in the real world. Okay, so algebra, the metrics and vectors, you should go back to them. Understand calculus, right? Differentiation and integration. Also try to understand probability distributions. At this time, you go higher than what you learned earlier. You understand hypothesis testing, understand the different probability distributions like the Poisson, the binomial, the normal distribution, right? And then the gamma distribution, the chi-square, the t-test, right? These are important statistical concepts. Move further to experimental designs. Understand the different test methods and when to use them, the parametric and the non-parametric test. Great. When you are done with these basic statistics, then you move on to machine learning. Under statistics, if you have the chance, don't forget to learn time series and A/B testing. Very, very important in the real world. At machine learning, you've already laid foundation, right? By studying the mathematics and statistics. So what you need to do here is understand the application of these statistics in machine learning. Under machine learning, try and know the different types of machine learning. The common ones include supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Most likely, you concentrate on supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Under supervised learning, understand the difference between classification and regression, right? Under unsupervised learning, try to understand dimensionality reduction, understand clustering, right? And then data transformations, right? Great. Also, try and understand the common problems in machine learning, like overfitting, underfitting, information leakage, right? These are the problems that comes up in machine learning. So understand them and know how to correct them. If you are able to get these concepts, you become a very good machine learning engineer. Now, there are a lot of algorithms under machine learning, but don't worry yourself with big complex algorithms. Start with the basic ones. Understand logistic regression, linear regression, k-nearest neighbor, support vector machine. Also try and understand some of the ensembles like the random forest, the voting classifier, the gradient boosting classifier or regressor. Also try and know how to do stacking, right? Work on projects. Get simple projects for yourself. Remember not to forget about feature engineering, feature selection, feature reductions. These are very, very important, right? So if you are able to complete these things under machine learning, then your next step is to cover deep learning. Deep learning also apply the principles of machine learning, just that deep learning mimics the human brain, and therefore we are going to center more on neural networks. So under deep learning, try and understand the concepts, the important concepts like activation functions, optimizations, gradient descent, right? These are concepts that you can't do away with if you want to be very good in deep learning. So you cover these concepts, backpropagation, feed forward, and so on. After you've gotten the concepts well, start with the basic algorithms in deep learning, the ANN, right? Artificial neural network. Start with them. That's MPL, right? Multi-perceptron layers. Understand them. Build basic ones. Make some predictions. Then you move on to CNN, convolutional neural networks. CNN is usually used for image recognition. So it's good to also lay a good foundation with it. So learn to build CNN, learn how to avoid overfitting, how to process your data for CNN, and so on. Then after that, you move on to RNN, recurrent neural network, which is usually used for forecasting, right? And then natural language processing. So these are the three algorithms you need to master in deep learning. And based on these three, you can learn the others with ease. Okay, so these are the basic ones that you need to cover under deep learning. And as you move on, you do complex things like the GANs, right? Great. Now, that brings us to the end of phase 3. We move on to phase 4. What should you cover under phase 4? Phase 4 is the phase that you are at the highest peak. You are now bringing returns, or you are now seeing the fruit of your labor in real time. Okay, so under phase 4, you cover ML operations, big data, and cloud computing. What is ML operations or MLOps? This is where you put your models, your machine learning models, your deep learning models into deployment or into operation, right? So under this section, there are a lot of things, tools you need to know or to learn about. You need to understand Dockers. You also need to understand Kubernetes, automation tools like CircuitCI or Jenkins. You also need to have a very strong knowledge in Linux or command prompt commands. You have to learn how to write commands on these platforms to be able to automate some of the tasks, right? Then after ML operations, you move to big data. Big data deals with data that comes in high velocity, high volumes, and the high variety. So the techniques that you use to analyze simple data will not apply in this case. So under big data, you need to learn special tools like the Hadoop, the Apache Spark, the Impala, the Hive, or any other tool of interest. There are a lot of them. Just make sure you research on it and choose the one that interests you. Then you move with it. Under big data, don't forget to learn about MongoDB for semi-structured data. And if you have the chance, also learn about data warehouse management, right? Good. After that, you move to cloud computing. Cloud computing is very, very important because most companies are now migrating to the cloud. And when you're working in the cloud, you have a lot of the system already set in place for you. So it's very, very easy to work in the cloud, right? So that's the end of phase 4. Now, what you need to know is that you don't need to complete all these phases before you start working as a data scientist or data analyst, right? I will teach you how to do that. We move to durations and roles. That is time. A common question that people do ask me is, how long will it take me to cover these phases? Well, there's no fixed time for this. However, per my experience and observation, I've realized that for phase 1, it usually takes people between 2 to 3 months. If you have the zeal and you're consistent in your learning, by 2 to 3 months, you'll be very, very strong in Python programming, business statistics, and then data analysis with Python. That if you are consistent and you are learning from the right resources, 2 to 3 months will be enough for you to cover phase 1. A similar thing for phase 2, 2 to 3 months. And if you already have knowledge in Excel, it may take you less than that, right? It may also take you more than this, depending on your background and your consistency in learning, and then the speed at which you learn these stuff, okay? So these are things that cannot be equal for everybody. It depends on the individual, but these are the approximations. Then phase 3, a very packed phase. Phase 3, to be frank with you, people will say 2 months or 3 months, but from my observation, to be confident after phase 3, it will take you like 3 to 5 months. I'm not talking of shallow learning. You are doing deep learning. You are learning it very, very, to the very core. Try to understand the concepts and how to apply them. If you want to do that, it will take you like 3 to 5 months. Machine learning alone usually takes 3 months, right? So if you see machine learning courses, mostly it's 3 months. Deep learning too is 3 months. And then let's say statistics can take you like 3 weeks or 1 month. So if you are combining them, then it should take you between 3 to 5 or 6 months. However, if you are very consistent, you can reduce it to 3 months or even less than that, depending on your consistency and then the number of hours you are willing to sacrifice in a day. All right. Then phase 4. Phase 4 also takes like 5 to 6 months. Phase 4 is very, very crucial because under phase 4, you are dealing with the external world, not just your internal staff, not just your company, but you're also deploying to serve customers. And therefore, you need to be a master of whatever you are doing so they don't commit errors. You don't cause the company to lose millions of dollars, right? So you need to be very, very confident at this point, before you take a role as a machine learning operationist or big data analyst or cloud computing engineer, right? Well, the phase 4, you can specialize, right, under phase 4. So there are data scientists that may not even tackle anything like ML ops or big data. But since you want to learn from zero to hero, you need to also cover these things to become confident, right? Maybe work as a consultant or even start your own company in data science. All right. Then what makes this whole learning part a smart one? What makes this learning part smart is that you don't need to complete the whole learning part before you start making money out of your labor. After phase 1 and phase 2, you can take a data analyst role or junior data scientist role. You can start working on freelancing platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and any other platform. Just take roles that are within your knowledge level, and then you'll be good to go. By so doing, you gain experience. Try and apply for positions like data analyst, data scientist, and so on. I mean, the junior data scientist roles. Try and apply for them. If you get it, you are good to go. So whilst you are working after phase 1 and phase 2, then you keep on building into phase 3. Okay, so after phase 3 or phase 3 and phase 4, you can take data scientist roles with confidence, right? After phase 3, you'll be able to build machine learning models. You'll be able to build deep learning models. You understand some statistical concepts, able to make meaning out of data, right? But if you want to really climb to a very high height, then you will need to learn the cover phase 4. That's where you learn ML, big data, and cloud computing. This makes you special, and you can even decide to specialize in one of them, right? And become a consultant, right? So that's it. After phase 1 and 2, you can take data analyst or junior data scientist role. After phase 3, you can take a main data scientist role. After phase 4, you are like almost like a master, right? And this will take you like 1 to 2 years on the average if you are consistent. All right. If you also happens to get masters in data science or machine learning, it may not take you this extent. All right, so that's it for today's video. Let me know your comments under the comment section. Ask questions, and then let me know if you have anything to add. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Before you leave, hit the subscribe button. Bye for now.